Black Clover Chapter 259, the official release is out, and you already know what today is. Today we are here to break down the chapter and discuss things that we didn't go full in detail with in the chapter review. Now I gotta say, this chapter was a very controversial one. It's a split within the community how they felt about this chapter, but more in particular, how people feel about Dante. And seeing the comment section of my last review video, which is almost 900 comments, yes, I read through all of them because I appreciate you guys. But a lot of you guys had a lot of valid reasons on both sides of the spectrum. We got a lot to talk about, but for starters, let's talk about the highlights that happened in this chapter. Now, I didn't talk much about this panel in my chapter review because in the fan translations, the grammar issues and the spelling, it was very off. It was out of context. But here, the anti-magic devil tells Asta that he only has 50 seconds. That right arm isn't like what it was before. When I just dribble powered into it, it is power itself. Your body won't hold out past 50 seconds. Now, this lets me know from this panel alone that Asta's power, his right hand, is 100% devil power, because the anti-magic devil mentioned that he only dribbled a little anti-magic flow within his arms, but now it is the full power itself. I think that is hinting at the fact that Asta's right arm is 100%. Plus, Asta with his devil, he has the power to access 100% of his devil power because the devil is inside his grimoire, unlike the other Dark Triad members. And I did do videos about explaining that, about Asta's and his devil percentages and what it can be. And I think that now we have a testament of his right arm, and I believe that is 100%. And I got a lot to say about this, but I will make a separate video on this later this week. It probably will be tomorrow, but I do love the fact that there is a time limit on this power that Asta has, because it is pretty broken once you go deeper in this chapter alone. Now, you guys already know I have been criticizing Dante's battle IQ a lot lately, but in this chapter he showed some brilliance. Especially, we've seen the variety of his body magic that he showed and displayed in this chapter. At first I didn't like body magic, but now I'm starting to like it. After this chapter, I love it now. In this panel in particular, he showed some smart battle IQ. Soon as Asta got close and cut him with his sword, Dante threw his arm away immediately, because Asta could have potentially halt his body regeneration because of his body magic, and he was smart enough to throw that away because Asta's anti-magic swords are just too deadly for anyone who has magic. So I gotta give Dante credit here. This was very smart on his part, because we've seen in the past, in the Sea Temple arc back in chapter 70 or in episode 48 in the anime, Asta was able to cut Veto with his Demon Dweller sword and he couldn't heal. Asta's anti-magic swords was able to enable Veto's healing magic, so that would have happened the exact same way if Asta was able to cut Dante right in the beginning of this chapter, and it would have enabled Dante's healing factor, his whole body magic. I mean, we see it all the time, especially in chapter 209 when Zagra had to move his heart because Asta stabbed him, and he went crazy right after. So Asta's swords against people with magic is the equivalent of accidentally running your toe on the side of the wall at night. It hurts, okay? Now, one of my favorite moments in this chapter was Dante using a four-sword style with his gravity magic. It's been a while since we've seen him use the swords since he impaled them with Ghosh, and I'm pretty sure Ghosh, seeing this fight, is probably having flashbacks and PTSD seeing the swords again because, oh man, it messed him up bad. I do love the fact that how Yami was very observant in this panel. He noticed that Asta's right arm is radiating anti-magic, and he says that if Asta lands a clean hit on that guy, we can win. In that case, I'll put even more into it. So Yami is using himself as a decoy in this fight for Asta to be the ace. He's distracting Dante so Asta can get a clean hit in. And him just say that he will have a clean hit and win just by one hit. And we seen last chapter that Asta was able to break Dante's gravity singularity spell like it was nothing. Let's just be honest here. In-game Asta, no one's touching him. Now, unpopular opinion, but this is the best part of the chapter for me, because you see Finral and he's looking at Asta and Yami just fighting Dante, and they are synchronized, and I feel as though the way that Tabata had handled this part, he made Finral the audience, the readers that are reading the story here, because he's looking at them and he's so amazed. You know, he's even laughing about it, and he's like, these guys are laughing and smiling given the circumstances that they on the brink of death, and they just have no care in the world. They are having fun. That is amazing. In memory, the only two characters I can think about that smile while they're on the brink of death or they're just fighting is Mario Leona and Jack the Ripper. Those are the two that come to my mind at first because they smile every time they fight, and I love that. Now, Asta and Yami, they were getting some hits in, especially in Asta's case, and Dante got rid of Asta's Demon Slayer sword immediately. It was another smart thing on his part because even though he didn't know, but Asta was on a time limit, so you gotta get rid of all those swords fast as possible. And Asta, he knew his time limit. He only had 8 seconds left during this moment, so he tried to be quick as possible, full of desperation to take down Dante, and he called his Demon Dweller sword, while Dante was clearly distracted at the moment, fighting and clashing with Yami. Even though Yami is stronger than Asta, but Asta is the biggest threat here because his magic counters literally everything. But Yami's was more perfect, his dark magic is more perfect and more suitable to counter gravity magic, while Asta's anti-magic at the moment is better suitable to counter body magic. So it is fair to say that Dante was at the disadvantage here because Asta and Yami, they counter both properties, so which makes sense for the outcome of this fight. But Dante, he was holding his own here because soon as Asta pulled out that Demon Dweller sword, Dante took it away immediately with an extra arm of his body magic, with Asta only having 3 seconds left. But Asta knew that he had another sword, so he brought out his Demon Destroyer sword, and Dante didn't even let him get it out the grimoire. But of course, Yami took advantage of this situation and hit him with another death thrust, because while Dante is regenerating, he is a little distracted, and he's so confident, he's saying this is over, but you know, he thinks that since Asta doesn't have any more swords and he can't attack him anymore, he believes the fight is over. He's throwing away every sword that Asta brings to him. He's like, no, I'm not giving you a chance at all.
Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
But what Dante miscalculated, which we all probably have miscalculated, was that Yami was going to give his katana to Asta, and Asta grabbed a sword and infused that with anti-magic, which was an epic moment because this opens a door for a lot of things for Asta's new ability that I will save in a different video. But the amount of variety that Asta can do now with his anti-magic, with his true power of the anti-magic, is going to be insane. Now, mind you, it was only 1 second left, so Dante was too busy on regenerating while Asta was already charging in, while Dante is defenseless, to give him a slash with a anti-magic katana. This is why Yami's battle IQ is much more superior than Dante's. He knew exactly to get an opening for Asta to go in and charge with his katana. As soon as he did his death thrust, he knew that was the key moment. And of course, at the end of the chapter, Asta says, we won. This is victory. Now, there is 2 things that can happen after this chapter because there is a huge problem here of Dante losing. Either he is dead or defeated and he will be captured and taken back to the Clover Kingdom, or we're going to see something like what Vanica and Magicula did when they were fighting in the Heart Kingdom. We seen when Vanica got hit with sealing magic from Nero, she was able to break out of it using her devil power, curse warding magic, decaying world, and Magicula was able to take over her body just temporarily, but everything changed right after that. So it's more than likely to happen to Dante. Lucifero will take over Dante and make him get up while Asta and Yami are out of energy, they're completely done, and this will be the time to take advantage to capture Yami. And the chances of that happening are very high still. We seen in chapter 245 where Dante, pure jealousy for Yami was displayed. He said, this is the first time I've ever been jealous of a human. Thank you, Yami, for this new malice. Yami is giving this guy new malice throughout the whole battle of this entire arc. In chapter 246, he tells Yami, envy, wrath, hate. I can't get enough of this. Magnificent Yami. Then in chapter 257, when Yami used his death thrust for the first time, Dante tells Yami, you are very distasteful. Thank you, Yami. So Yami is giving this guy all sorts of new malice and emotions because this is what Dante likes. This is what he thrives upon because in the Spade Kingdom, he said he was bored. He was tired of everything. But hate, envy, wrath, that's what Dante thrives upon. So now that he just experienced a new malice, a first loss, I believe when Dante gets up from this, experiencing this new malice, things are going to get much worse from here and it's going to be a problem. And I think this victory could be momentarily, but who knows what can happen. It's possible that Xenon and Vanica could actually meet them in this area because the hideout is in the border of the Spade Kingdom. So it's possible that they could meet up with them and capture Yami, and it would be bad if they do show up. I don't think that will probably happen, but who knows. But you guys comment below and tell me what you think about this. What's your expectations for the next chapter? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe with notification bells on. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, and I'm out.